Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I say hi to all of you from Longyearbyen in Svalbard, very close to the North Pole in the Arctic Circle. Um, so I wanted to do a part of the transmission outside, but actually it's really cold and it's impossible. It's not that cold as I expected for today. So it's nice, but not good for the computer outside. And I wanted to show you the northern lights, the auroras, but actually you cannot see them. I was waiting for them, but they say that it might be later. So these are my. I'm gonna be here 3 days, and this these are my 3 days of darkness because the sun comes back in this region in March 8th. So it's all the time is night. So um, well, it's confusing. So it's the 3 days of night before everything new starts. So I wanted to gather all of you here today because the task that I am supposed to do here is very important for what we are going to do in Egypt. So that's why I wanted to share with you the energy of this place, and so we could all get together in vibration for this task and to hold what we are going to do from this night and tomorrow. So I was supposed to do the task for today, but my flight, well, I had problems with the flight, and I arrived just today in the afternoon. So so but anyway, this is perfect because it's good that we work first all together this. Um, so tomorrow when I go to the place to do the activation, I already have all the support and the energy of all together. So I will explain a little bit of where I am right now, why it's important for me to be here, and why it's important. What are we going to do here, and what is the importance of doing this before our important gathering in February. So where am I? I am in a small island, um, which is in the north of Norway, in the north of Scandinavia, uh, just aside Greenland, and it is very close to the North Pole, only 500 kilometers from the North Pole. Um, and its name is Svalbard. So in Svalbard, the capital is Longyearbyen, and in this in this city lives less than 3,000 people. So I will say some of the things that makes this place special, but just to say some of them, this is the northern city in the world, and the northernmost city in the world, with an airport that anyone can come as a tourist, and it's very cheap actually to come to this place. So it's not like that expensive to come to this island. So I don't know if you know about this, but internet doesn't go through satellites mostly. it goes under the ocean. Um, so Svalbard is one of the places where all these cables that connects internet between America and Europe goes through. So it's a very important place of connection, of data. Another two facts of this place is that this island is well, you can actually live in this place because um, the waters are warmer. Well, there it's cold, but actually it's warmer, and you can live here because the waters that arrived until this territory comes from Mexico. Actually, the current, the Gulf current. So from Florida and Cuba, the waters from the Gulf come straight to this territory in the north. So that's why um, this place can be habitable, and not like in northern Canada, for example. So this island also in the world represents the hypophysis gland, hypophysis, which is the gland that controls the hormones of the body. So it represents that, the hypophysis of the entire world. So it's very important, this place. Another important, really important thing of this place is that uh, many people of the world got together to create this thing here, this place, which is the seed vault, and it's a very interesting place that is carved inside the mountain, and and um, and is a place where you can find all the seeds of every plant of the world. And this is very, very important because uh, in a, in a catastrophic case of death of many plants in the world, all the things that we need to eat, to produce, and stuff, this is like a kind of an ark for all the seeds of the planet. And the reason why it's here is because the position of this place in the planet makes it perfect to be protected in case of atomic bombs or radiation or stuff like that. So and also because the ground is permafrost, and the permafrost is the floor that is frozen from thousands of years. So it is always in the same temperature, which is 5 degrees below zero Celsius. Okay, so it's an arc. This place is really a place to uh, to save the world just in case something happened. And also, the great thing to know is that this island is very close to the physical North Pole, and also is very close to the actual magnetical North Pole. And this is because the North Pole is moving to a Russian peninsula called Taimyr, and but you cannot go there easily. And this is the closest spot where you can get to the actual North Pole and the magnetical North Pole right now. And this is why I came to this place, because this island is the easiest place where you can get to be closer to the axis of the world. So the first one to understand is the physical pole. The physical pole is, well, you have the physical one and then the magnetical one. So the physical one is the one that shows the two the two sides of the planet. So when the planet spins, these are the two 0 degrees, north and south. North in the north of Greenland, 5 kilometer of 500 kilometers from here, and then in the bottom of Antarctica. So those are the two spots where, as the planet spins, these are the ones that it looks like they are not spinning because there's no movement almost there. So that's why they are the physical ones. It's a point of reference in a sphere that is moving. Well, that's why the physical pole. So, and the other axis of the world is the magnetical one. The magnetical one is always moving because the center of the planet is spinning, okay? And that creates that the magnetical pole starts to move around. So sometimes it's in Canada, sometimes in Alaska, sometimes in Greenland, and now is heading to Russia. So the magnetical pole is always in movement. So what is important about this time? That when these two poles, when these two axes get together, it's like if you like if the planet gets in coherence, because the physical pole, which is like the body, is aligned with the magnetical pole, which is like kind of the soul. So the soul and the body gets together, aligned one another, and that's coherence. It's like both of the most important bodies get together. So what is important about this? This alignment between the physical and the magnetical poles, the axis, started in 2020. So at the same time as the pandemic started, the two poles aligned. And of course, the magnetical one is already moving to Russia, but but the process started there with this alignment. So what happened? That we have the physical body of the Earth spinning in its own axis, with the magnetical north pole moving, which is the soul moving around, and we need a third axis. Which is the third axis? Is the mind, the spiritual axis, which is how the consciousness of the planet can be aligned with the north, with the physical north and the magnetical north. So, and here is why are we going to Egypt and why in February. This February, our task is to align the axis of the world in terms of spirituality, in terms of the consciousness. Why there? Not because there are pyramids, but because the Atlantean people built the pyramids there in order to adjust the axis of consciousness. So they were built on purpose as an anchor for that axis. So we have the physical axis of the planet. Then we have crossing, getting together with the magnetical axis, which is the soul. And then we have the task of activating the axis of the consciousness, which is the spiritual level, in Egypt, where the ancient ones said it would be. This is why the task should be held right now, because the physical North Pole with the magnetical North Pole are only aligned in between 2020, 2021, and part of 2022. In the middle of 2022, the magnetical axis starts to move faster, already going outside from the physical North Pole, heading to Taimyr. So this is why this is the moment to do it, because the three poles can be aligned. So why I am here in this territory right now before I go to Egypt? because I had to come here to kind of create a string to connect from the North Pole to um, to um, to Egypt for our task. So the three are connected. The three axes are connected. Okay, so that's why I'm here, and that's why we are connecting right now here. So for those who have started from the beginning this path, remember that 2 years ago, exactly this same day, February 2nd, 2020, we got together a group of friends that all of them are connected with us right now watching this. We got together to anchor this energy of the nodes and the consciousness inside some crystals. So those crystals could be like anchors delivered in 12 parts of the world, the 12 main portals of the planet. So we could anchor everything that we are going to do in February. One of the crystals is this one, which has the dodecahedron and icosahedron together, creating the pattern of the flower of life, the seed of life. The other one is a pure crystal from the mines of Brazil, which is pure, and you can see some colors inside because of the light. So there we put all the data and information that we are willing to download. And the third one, which is blue obsidian from Mexico. So this crystal reminds us about the blue ones, which were the group of Atlanteans that taught everything to humans to build pyramids and everything. So that's why in their memory we put this energy with the other spheres. So the other persons that are connecting, my friends that are connected right now here, they also have, each one of them, two spheres like these ones that they will put in the world, and their own blue crystal that will also be seated in each one of the faces of the planet. What I'm going to do is to put these three crystals here in Svalbard as a way of anchoring this information from the soul, the body, and the spiritual axis. So the three are together. So I will deliver this in a place called Tempelfjorden, which is the fjord of the temples, which is just in front of a ghost city called Pyramiden, which is pyramid. And it's the ghost town from the times when Russia was controlling this territory, and is the most northern town in the entire world, but is abandoned. So I will deliver this tomorrow in front of the pyramid of the north, in the temples of ice. So we will do the same task then in the Great Pyramid in Egypt, in front of the temples of sand. Everything is connected, everything is perfect. So what is the task? That today we are going to try to align ourselves with our own axis. So tomorrow we can all together work with the axis of the world. So we can all connect with the axis of the North Pole as we do this task and realign this north. So the main thing why we do this is because the north of the planet, where we are heading to, is changing. The physical one is not. It will always be in the same spot. But the magnetical one is moving. So that means that what we usually move to, our north, is lost. We have lost our north. So we have to find it again, and we have to align us again with the north. Sometimes when I explain this, some of you might think we are doing this to save the world or to do something to align the entire planet. And it's not. It's not what we are doing. Humans are not something that lives in a planet called Earth. Humans are Earth. We are Earth. That's something that has to get inside of our minds. We are not on Earth. We are Earth. And when we understand this, we will get the idea that we are not saving the world, that we are trying to align with the world. So when the magnetical North Pole moves, usually the species, the animals, change their migration. They change the places where they are heading to. But we humans, we don't migrate like we used to do. We think. So we change our north. We change our purpose. That's why we are the neurons of the planet. We are the thinkers. We are the mind of this world. So if this world is changing its north, it means that we have to adapt to that new vision. That's why we use spirituality, culture, these actions that we are doing as a kind of a symbolism to realign ourselves into the new things that are coming in the future. So it's not about saving anything, it's about aligning us to something new. Okay. As the planet Earth, we are a fractal of the planet Earth. So we also have a physical axis, an emotional axis, and a mental or mind or spiritual axis. So we have to find them. So what is the physical axis? The physical axis that you have in your body is the north one is here on the top, okay, in this part here, which is the crown, the crown chakra, touching the last part of the skull. That's the north. And where's the south? In your anus, okay, in your anus. So sometimes we say the coccyx and stuff, but actually it's the anus. So if you sit like this in a position of meditation, you will have the anus facing down to the core of the earth, and this one here opening to the skies. So some people maybe say that it is in the perineum. I don't know how you say in English, in between the anus and the genitals. But actually, that region is much more the root chakra, the power of the root chakra. Okay. But I am speaking about axis, not about chakras. Okay. Just the axis of the physical world, not chakras. So if I was talking about chakras, I would say that the crown chakra is not here, is actually anchored in the hypophysis gland. Okay, but I am not talking about the hypophysis gland. I am talking about the axis. Okay, which is here in the external part of the skull. So that's the physical axis, the anus and the crown here. So where is the magnetical pole, the magnetical axis of our body? It is exactly as in the planet, here in the heart. The heart is like the core of the planet, which is a core of iron. this iron core of the planet is moving, and the magnetical pole, the magnetical field is moving like the like your heart. So where is the north axis of your heart? In those things you love the most. Some people have this axis in other person, or in a project, or in something, um, I don't know, something, um, something greater, or in yourself, whatever. So you have to feel, where is your heart heading to? What is the north? And the things that you don't want, the things that you want to leave behind, are the things that represent the southern part, the southern part of your axis. So the axis of your soul is basically, where is your heart heading to, and what is trying to leave behind. Where do you put all your love? And what is the axis for the spiritual level? So the spiritual level has its own axis with poles called I and am. I in the south, me, I, and in the north, am. I am, I am is the axis of the spiritual level. So how do I know? How do I leave this axis? Well, it depends. If I live through the ego in the south, or if I live levitating the essence, not being able to manifest anything, in the north. Or I can put both together, I am, and be fully present here and now, being able to be there, connecting to everything, something greater, but here in this reality. So in the physical world, in our physical body, we have the top of our head and the anus on the south. Okay, that's the axis, exactly as in Earth is in the north of Greenland, in the degree 0, and degree 0 in the center of Antarctica in the south. So that would be the physical one. So where is my magnetical field? My magnetical field is where my heart is heading to. What is my heart looking for? Where is all my love? Where do I put my love in my life? And what are the things that I am trying to leave behind, emotionally talking? That's the axis of the inner core, the magnetical, the soul. And what is the axis for the spiritual realm? Is I and am, the ego and the essence. So what we are going to do now is to locate these three axes in ourselves and compare them, align them to the ones in the planet Earth, so they can become one. So for the 12 that are listening to me, well, I just said that all of you understand me in Spanish, but I repeat it in English. You won't concentrate in just the North Pole, but also in your own axis, in the axis that you represent in the planet, one of the 12. Okay, so you take the crystals and you concentrate in that axis. So special attention also for the 12. This one will be delivered tomorrow, and when you deliver yours in the planet, should be connected to this one in this part of the planet. Okay, so the 12 nodes are connected to the same spot. So that's why it is important to concentrate into this. Okay, into this crystal. So they are all one. It's getting hot here. There was ice in the window. So let's sit in um, meditation position. Mhm. So for those who are not able to sit in the tetrahedron position, like crossing your legs, um, so if you cannot do it, just sit normally with your feet on the floor and your back straight. Hmm? So I'm not gonna put any music today. We are just gonna concentrate in ourselves, in what we have uh, inside, in our sounds, everything. So for those who, um, well, the 12 who has the crystals, if you can put it in between your legs or close to your body, better. So remember that during this whole year, 2020, 2021, I have been in Egypt physically to anchor the axis of spirituality between I am every day. Okay. So what we have done all this time has been building this axis of the spiritual level. And now this is very important because I came physically here to this spot so we could connect with the physical axis of the planet and with the network to the axis in Egypt. Okay, so that's why um, I ask for concentration. I have also the crystals representing the geometries, so I will mention them so we can connect with all that information too. Sphere, Merkawa. As always, we begin by looking for a comfortable position. Try to find that position. Move your body. Stretch your body. Yawn. By caressing your body, try to get rid of all the statics. Cleaning yourself from all the energy, the waste of energy. We yawn all the times that we need. We scratch and caress our bodies from the top to the bottom, cleaning the statics towards the feet. We move our shoulders in circles to the back and then to the front. I take deep breaths through my nose. I hold all the time as I can and I release it, exhaling through the mouth 3 to 4 times. I repeat it 3 to 4 times. I take deep breaths now through the nose, and I concentrate in nose breathing. Breathing deep, exhaling through the nose softly, relaxing the body, feeling it free. I become aware that I am starting right now an alignment to get together the three axes of myself: the one that is physical, the emotional, and the spiritual. I bring all my attention to the top of my head, the upper part of my skull, the hair, and I feel the air caressing it as I breathe. I become aware of this upper part of my body. And from there, I bring all my attention to my anus, to the spot that holds my entire body. I try to feel it, to observe it in my mind, to recognize it. And I become aware of this important part of my body. I start to play, moving my body, trying to find the perfect line and connection in a straight line from the upper part of my head towards my anus. I play, trying to find this straight line that connects the upper part and the lower part of my connection, putting my spine straight, drawing this imaginary line, opening the gate from where the spiritual consciousness comes inside my body, connecting to the gate through where all the things that I don't need inside my body go out. Try to figure these rays of light coming from the skies through your body, through me, and coming out straight to the core of the planet. I become aware, fully aware, that this is the axis through where I move myself in life daily. This is the 0 point of my physical body. And every movement I do, emerges from it. I become fully aware that from now on, every time that I am looking for my axis, I can play this game of finding the straight line that connects the two portals of my body in one line. I take a deep breath. I recognize myself as a fractal of Earth, and I can position my physical North Pole in the Arctic as the South Pole I find in the Antarctic. And in the same way as the Earth moves on its own axis, I recognize that my own life moves through this axis. I take a deep breath. In this position, I can perceive the core of this planet, the iron core that moves faster, that spins faster in the center. And I find it in my heart. I can feel the magnetism as it spins, reaching for the north and the south. In every heartbeat, I can feel how, through every heartbeat, the magnetical core starts to create a torus around me, this electromagnetical force that spins and creates this apple shape around me as I find myself in the core of it. This geomagnetical field is the force that keeps the information, the memory of my past, present, and future. Is the memory of my soul. Looking for a north and the south. I can sense that my heart is heading to the place where all my love is felt. Sometimes my North Pole is heading to a person, to a project, to a fear, to an idea. Try to feel and ask yourself, where is my love heading to? Where is my north? You will find where your magnetical field is heading to when you know what you love the most. Where do you put all your love? Find it. Once you find where do you put all that love, you have to remind yourself this, that everything that exists is yourself. There is nothing else outside where you can put your love because everything is you. So there is nothing where you can put exactly your love. If you love yourself, if you put all that love in you, that's the only way how you really are going to love unconditionally everything. Become aware that you are wasting your energy putting all your love in just one aspect. Now, softly bring back all this love to you, and when you feel it in your heart, you will recognize that by loving yourself and expanding that love from your heart, you're going to be able to love everything with the same strength. I am my north. I go towards myself. I bring all that power to my heart and I expand this magnetical field, creating all this powerful strength equally to the earth. I can feel the field, the magnetical pulses creating electricity, the energy that I need to create life, the pulse that creates strength, that manifests creation. I can sense all that love becoming my magnetical field. And as it is expanding, I can sense it as if I am the earth. And such as in the south as in the north, I can perceive a crown of green lights, the aurora that is the manifestation of the invisible soul. I am the earth. I am the soul of the world. And so I recognize in me the second axis. And from this axis, I start to find the third one, growing, expanding from my core. It ignites under my feet and above my head. The center below representing the ego, the personality, the one that I am here in this world. And the center above representing the am, the essence, my truth. I try to be very sincere with myself and ask myself, am I living through the ego or am I living through the essence? Remember that the ego is about fears, will, needs, desires. Remember that the essence is ethereal, unmanifested, volatile. The one without the other don't work. The essence without the ego cannot manifest anything here and now. The ego without the essence is just a lost weight, is an anchor, worthless, meaningless. I take the will to reestablish the axis of I am in me. I take a deep breath and I recognize the ego that holds me in this life. I take a deep breath and I recognize the essence that guides me in this life. My ego is built up with my past. The essence is constructed by future. I honor my past and I project myself free to the future. This is the only way I can find myself in the present. And as I find the axis north and south in myself, I repeat, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. Breathe. I recognize like this the third axis in me. I am humanity and earth. Now, from wherever you find yourself, wherever you are, project all these three axes towards the axis of Earth. Point to the north, face to the North Pole, heading up to Svalbard, Nova Zemlya, Taimyr, and the north of Greenland. Feel the ice in the Arctic Ocean under a sky full of stars and northern lights, the aurora borealis. In between all of us, as one, we create the axis of the world, the conscious axis of Earth. We are the neurons of this planet, facing north, trying to reach a new purpose, expanding this in a whole network of consciousness. I am the axis of the world. I am the axis of the world. I am the axis of the world. I am. I am the axis of the body, the axis of the soul, and the axis of the spirit. And here and now, in this portal day of February 2nd, 2022, I set my intention to become the axis of the world so I can open the doors for the network of space. I hold now this axis in me along all this night and all the day of tomorrow. I start softly to move my body as I yawn and stretch, each part of my body coming back here. I invite you all along all this night and tomorrow during the day to set the intention to bring all your axes from wherever you are to the North Pole, to this region, holding the axis of your spirit by saying, I am. With intention of all of you together, with your strength and the network that we have created from your consciousness. Tomorrow I will deliver these crystals in the North Pole so they can act as anchors for all of us in this path of consciousness. I am, I am, I am. That these crystals act like the seeds that will also be kept in this land as a reservoir of consciousness. Yo soy, yo soy, yo soy. So, thank you all for being here, as always. And tomorrow, as the connection allows me, I will for sure try to keep you informed of everything that happens so we all can be connected. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we feel each other tomorrow from the Arctic, the North Pole.